Hi guys, it's not getting peaceful and quiet for the Campania region in southern Italy. That's basically the greater Naples area. And you know, Naples unfortunately is placed between two monsters. One is Vesuvius, and we know what it can do when it destroyed Pompeii. But the other one is Campi Flegrei. That was lesser known, but is way more dangerous than Vesuvius. Campi Flegrei is one of the most dangerous potential supervolcanoes, but active volcanoes in the world, and it's been rumbling there quite a lot, and people have been displaced from their homes and they're very worried, and it seems like the officials are slowly starting to get there and moving their butts a little more to be better prepared, but they're basically focusing their preparedness on earthquakes. But the scientists are warning them. They're saying your current evacuation plans do not work. We need new ones fast. And you need to prepare for the worst case scenario. And that would be a volcanic eruption. Even if it was a small one, it would be devastating for the greater Naples area with more than 3 million people. So just recently, we had another swarm of earthquakes at the caldera of Campi Flegrei, the supervolcano, the Phlegraean fields, burning fields. There's a reason why they have that name. So this is a volcanic area that stretches around 100 kilometers, and it also stretches into the Gulf of Pozzuoli. So that earthquake swarm had at least 24 individual earthquakes, and the strongest had the magnitude of 1.5. And today there was one at Vesuvius, magnitude 1.9. So let's hope that not both of them are doing something, because scientists are saying Vesuvius is basically overdue because it kind of erupts more on a regular basis than Campi Flegrei does. The earthquake's epicenter was detected at a depth of 2.3 kilometers. So the epicenter was in the area of the fumaroles. The fumaroles are in the northeastern outer flank of this Solfatara crater that you can see behind me, that beige area. There are these fumaroles. They're hot steam vents that are volcanic, and they have measured that these steam vents have become hotter in the recent weeks. That's why all of a sudden, even before the big earthquake swarm on May 20th, where we had a 4.4 magnitude earthquake, the largest that they had in 40 years in that region, even before that, all of a sudden, scientists started showing up at the Solfatara every day. Residents noticed that, so they started to become worried. So many of the other quakes also occurred in the area of that Solfatara. And you can see in the aerial pictures, this is heavily populated because it doesn't really look that much like a volcano, and it's spread out so far. It's very fertile ground. And we have heard one official say yesterday that it was ever allowed to build there, to hand out building permits there, is criminal because it is so risky. But let's not forget, if that volcano erupts, it's not only a problem for those people that live there, it's a problem for the whole Naples area as well. What is causing these earthquakes? Is it magma that's on the move? Or is it what's more likely, hopefully, that it's just a classic seismic swarm of fluids, magmatic fluids or gases in the hydrothermal system? So fluid movements. If magma was already on the move, we would see an eruption shortly. So let's hope that this is not the case. But more and more scientists are on alert. If you've seen my other videos, one guy that is responsible for surveilling Campi Flegrei for decades works for the Italian National Institute of Geology and Volcanology, for the University of Rome, for the Vesuvius Observatory. He said in March, if I had the resources, I would evacuate now. That was before the stuff even started that we're dealing with now. Other scientists also say you could face larger earthquakes in the 5 range, which is quite large for volcanic earthquakes. So, and you could face a potential eruption, and they're not prepared. it has shown when these earthquakes hit on March 20th in Pozzuoli, they were not prepared. The civil defense was not prepared. The residents were super, super angry. The chairman of the residents organization has said it was pathetic. Nobody did show up. No civil defense was seen. They put up some tents but left the people alone there. So they're not prepared yet, but they're starting to do more. People in Pozzuoli are still upset and they're still scared because of that magnitude 4.4 earthquake that has been rumbling there, and that came with a big roar, a sound. And then the earthquakes that followed and the ones that were there yesterday, even they were only 1.5 or the other day 1.7, it came with a roar that was frightening people. So they can't calm down because they don't know what's going to happen. And especially the scientists are predicting there could be a bigger one. So they don't know, can we go back to our homes? Is it safe? What should we do? Many left. So people have noticed that there's not much traffic in Pozzuoli right now. So they said a lot of people that could, they left. They went to family, live with them, just left the area, which I think is good. Local politicians are making statements practically every day. There's crisis meetings with researchers and the civil protection. So they're trying to figure something out. Yesterday, the National Commission for Forecasting and Prevention of High-Risk Areas did meet, and they came to the conclusion that the volcano has not changed significantly since May 22nd, so the yellow alert remains still in place. What was released in a press release is a statement about the accuracy of short-term eruption forecasts, which is not super advanced, I have to say. So they were international experts that were discussing this, and they were using this example of this current volcanic crisis that they're facing there. And they were saying that volcanic reactivation after a dormancy for quite a while often occurs over months or years through seismic phenomena. And these phenomena have been going on for quite a while, more like 2019 and even earlier. So the ground deformation is a sign which is happening, a land rise is happening, and it has accelerated as of recently, and of course geochemical changes. And afterwards then, after this preparation period, there is a fairly short pre-eruptive phase that only lasts hours or, if you're lucky, days. And that of course comes with a stronger change, a stronger dynamic of changes, like stronger earthquakes. Probably these fumaroles will get hotter, which they have become recently. So that's the problem. What do we do? Should they evacuate Naples, more than 3 million people now, and then see what happens? People could be displaced for years before something happens, or something never happens. But on the other hand, if they don't evacuate these people and the volcano starts erupting, that's devastating. Or if the volcano gets in this pre-eruptive stage, they don't have enough time to evacuate the people. That's the problem, because it will take them days to evacuate those people. And they have released an evacuation plan like 2 days ago, and you made comments, and you're right. They basically were making plans for only 143,000 people out of over 3 million. So they were focusing only on the direct area around this caldera, which is even if it's a small eruption, it stretches all over Naples. So they said we have 500 bus drivers on alert so that people would get into buses and drive away, and the rest would be on their own. But what they don't consider, it's good to take people into buses to not clog the roads. But if you're only taking 143,000 out of millions, the roads will be clogged for sure. So does that help you? I don't know. I don't think that helps at all. So we will have to wait and see whether they will listen to these experienced scientists and come up with something better. They're saying you have to evacuate over the water as well. But Campi Flegrei stretches into the water. So if it erupts in the water, you don't want to be anywhere near there. So then you have to forget about that. So after this meeting, they were aware, or their conclusion was, and they did underline that they have a need to immediately update the alert levels of the Campi Flegrei emergency plans in order to adapt them to the current scientific state of the art, and the Ministry of Civil Protection plans to continuously review the alert levels and also adapt the corresponding operational measures. About that earthquake swarm that just started yesterday, the Vesuvian Observatory has communicated to the municipality of Pozzuoli that they were indeed facing a sequence of seismic events that were underneath Campi Flegrei, and they confirmed that this event has been accompanied by a roar felt by the inhabitants of these areas that are close to the epicenter. So now they're waiting for more reports of damages from the residents, and they have a number where residents can call in and let them know if there's more damages to their homes. These are old homes, stone homes, so they're not up to seismic codes. That's why there's some significant damages even by smaller sized earthquakes. And if it's a swarm, it's many more earthquakes that can do damage. So to these homes, the repeated tremors is what puts them under scrutiny, so to speak. So as I said, they're doing something, but it's mostly related to the earthquakes. It's kind of a thing, well, if the other thing happens, we're all doomed anyway, sort of thing. That's the feeling that I get. So they have released, the Civil Protection has released a handbook in what to do in case of an earthquakes or during and after an earthquakes. And that book is aimed at the inhabitants of the red zone of the Campi Flegrei. But okay, a handbook in the case of a volcanic eruption in the red zone of the Campi Flegrei. What to do? Nothing, because you won't even have time to do anything. And it's sad, but we have to speak the truth about this. We know when Vesuvius erupted in the red zone, what happened to the inhabitants there. They were so surprised. They were caught by the volcano while they were running away. You see these statues there that have been found and basically recovered, and that tells you how quickly everything happened. So there's no running away, there just isn't. So they want to use this handbook to also create awareness among the citizens. I'm just wondering, they should be aware by now by all that shaking, but at least they're doing something. So the Civil Protection says it's not possible to accurately predict an earthquake, but there are measures that can be taken in anticipation of a seismic event. They're saying move heavy furniture away from beds or sofas because it could crash on you. But yeah, that's basic earthquake education. I'm just surprised. And scientists said that it's not taught in schools. People are not prepared, and I just wonder why. Because normally in earthquake prone areas, you tell people. So they say fix shelves, bookcases, or other tall furniture to the walls. I mean, if the walls are falling, crumbling, then that doesn't help. Hang pictures and mirrors with closed hooks, which prevent them from detaching from the wall. And don't hang pictures over your bed, because while you're sleeping, it'll fall on you. Or shelves next to your bed or sofa, yeah. Place heavy objects on the lower shelves of the shelves that you have on the lower parts. And fix them with tape and stuff like this. In the kitchen, use a latch to open the furniture doors where plates and glasses are contained so that they do not open during the shock. Learn where the gas and water taps and the main light switch are and how they are turned off. Keep a first aid kit, a flashlight, a better powered radio at home, and make sure everyone knows where they are. Find out if the civil protection plan of your municipality exists. Yeah, exists. That's the problem, right? Find out if it exists. I find Sorry guys, it's a dire situation, but I find it, if there's an earthquake, find out if there's a plan. Oopsie, there wasn't a plan, right, in the last exists, and so find out if it exists and what it provides. And then they're saying, if it isn't there, demand that it is prepared so that you know how to behave in the event of an emergency. Yeah, they're demanding that right now, right? So it is kind of strange. So then they say they should eliminate all situations which, in the event of an earthquake, could represent a danger for you or your family members. Well, being in a house that might collapse, for example, or being on top of a supervolcano that could erupt, right? Learn what the correct behavior is during and after an earthquake, and in particular, identify the safe places in the home where you can take shelter during the earthquake. Yeah, learn where. Is there a link? Are there videos? There needs to be more education. If that's all they have to say, I don't think that is super helpful. And then they say, well, what to do during an earthquake? They say, however, when you are in the middle of an ongoing seismic event, a distinction must be made regarding the behavior to adopt, whether you are in a closed place or in the open air. Yeah, I guess we knew that. So if you're in a closed place, place yourself in a doorway inserted into a load-bearing wall, the thickest wall, near a load-bearing wall or under a beam. Under a beam? Or take shelter under a bed or a sturdy table. In the center of the room, you could be hit by falling objects, pieces of plaster, falls, ceilings, furniture, etc. Do not rush out, but wait for the shock to end. And yeah, if you're outdoors, move away from buildings, trees, street lamps, power lines. You could be hit by vases, tiles, or other falling materials. Pay attention to the possible consequences of the earthquakes, collapse of bridges, landslides, gas leaks, etc. Yeah. Then they're giving some advice what you could do after the earthquake. I don't want to bore you too much. They say reach the waiting areas provided by the Municipal Civil Protection Plan. Well, it wasn't too great last time. They didn't even have water, just plain water for the people that gathered there. So nothing, no food, but not even water. So the prefect of Naples has also participated in this civil protection summit, and he has released a press release afterwards that in June that there will be a massive evacuation exercise in the red zone of the Campi Flegrei. He said that he participated in this civil protection summit together with the mayors of Naples, Pozzuoli and Baccioli to take stock of the situation in the Campi Flegrei after these strong tremors of May 20th. He says the exercises are scheduled for June. We are already organizing them. The presumable date could be the 21st or a few days later, but in short, by June, we will be doing a powerful exercise. That's what he said. He said the priorities are essentially to create and strengthen the waiting areas in the 3 municipalities involved, keep the escape routes free, and carry out an exercise as soon as possible. And one interesting information, I was wondering, they were evacuating the women's prison that's there in Pozzuoli. So they were evacuating them. It kind of like, what about the rest of the people? They were standing on the streets, not knowing what to do. No civil defense came, nothing. So prisoners first, is that what their plan is? I don't know. But the funny thing is, now these inmates that were transferred from Pozzuoli to Lauro due to the earthquakes, now they are on hunger strike. And you might wonder why. They want to return. They want to go back. They don't like where they are right now. So they don't care about safety, it seems. So guys, that was a quick update about what's going on in Italy. I'll keep you updated for sure. For now, it's roaring, it's rumbling. So that's the status quo. And they're putting a lot of efforts on the earthquakes, but kind of putting their head in the sand when it comes to the big problem, so to speak. That's the problem that their own scientists are trying to warn them of, right? But we will see. Hopefully, something will move in the right direction very, very soon. That was my update, guys. Check for my updates about Iceland. The volcano there is still roaring as well. And there's news about the lagoons, of course, so check that out. I'll release an update about Campi Flegrei very shortly. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for your support. Please leave this video a like, and if you're new here, please subscribe. I would love to see you on a regular basis so that you could join our little community here where we're chatting about the events in Italy and in Iceland as well. So thanks, guys. I see you very soon. Stay safe. Bye-bye.